Let these Stoic words heal your mind and steady your heart. Welcome to Stoic Philosophy for Life, where silence builds strength, discipline shapes destiny, and wisdom leads the way. There are days when your mind feels like a battlefield, when your thoughts turn into enemies, when your heart aches under a weight no one else can see, when the world feels loud, but your mind louder still. In these moments, you don't need more opinions. You don't need more noise, you need steel. Not on your skin, but in your spirit. That's where Stoic philosophy begins. Not with comfort, but with clarity. Not with escape, but with endurance. Not with silence, but with sovereign silence. This is where the ancient Stoics meet you. Not with promises of peace, but with practices of power. Because healing does not begin by avoiding pain. It begins by understanding it. Let us walk through this wisdom, not to be soothed, but to be strengthened. Pain is not a punishment. It is a process. Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well. Epictetus, we have been trained to see pain as a curse, but pain is not here to break you. It is here to refine you. It is not a judgment. It is a sculptor's hand. Every wound to the heart is a chisel, and you, the marble. You are not being punished when you suffer. You are being carved into something essential. Don't run from pain. Study it. Sit with it. Let it burn away what is unnecessary. Because what remains after pain is power. Not the kind that boasts. The kind that breathes slowly, stands tall, and doesn't flinch. Pain does not destroy the Stoic. It awakens him. Expect difficulty and be prepared for it. Begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." Marcus Aurelius, this is not pessimism, it is preparation. Expectation is the seed of suffering. The untrained mind expects kindness, fairness, ease, and collapses when reality offers its opposite. But the disciplined mind expects nothing. It asks for nothing. It is anchored not in hope, but in inner readiness. You do not get hurt by what happens. You get hurt by your belief that it shouldn't have happened. When you expect betrayal, it does not sting. When you expect obstacles, they don't surprise you. The Stoic does not curse the storm. He trains for it before it comes, and when it arrives, he walks through it, unshaken. Your mind is a fortress. Guard it. Seneca reminded us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The world throws chaos, but the real damage is what happens in your mind. An undisciplined mind turns whispers into screams, shadows into monsters, moments into spirals. But the trained mind, it watches, it filters, it decides. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves a response. Not every fear deserves a voice. You must treat your thoughts like guests, not rulers. They can knock at your door. You choose whether they enter. When you realize that you are not your thoughts but the gatekeeper of them, you take back the throne. And in that moment, nothing enters without your permission. That is not numbness. That is control. True calm comes from discipline, not from luck. A good feeling is a soul's harmony. Peace does not come from quiet circumstances. It comes from practiced inner alignment. It comes from waking early when your body wants sleep, from biting your tongue when your ego wants to attack, from walking forward when your fear wants to retreat. That is the kind of calm that cannot be faked. It is not about happiness. It is about harmony. Not because the world became gentle, but because you became unmoved. When chaos knocks, the trained soul does not panic. He does not argue. He simply returns to his discipline. That is real peace. Not a feeling, but a foundation. Detachment is not coldness. It's mastery. He who does not fall into anger wins the battle every time. Musonius Rufus, to walk through insult without reply, to face betrayal without vengeance, to feel fear and keep moving anyway. This is not apathy. This is not indifference. This is inner supremacy. The Stoic does not avoid emotion. He simply refuses to be ruled by it. He feels fully, deeply. But he acts wisely, deliberately. That's the difference between reaction and response. To feel everything and still choose what is right, that is the Stoic art. That is true emotional freedom. Stillness is not weakness. It's command. The one who walks alone and does not falter. He needs no applause. Stillness is often mistaken for softness, but stillness is strength, condensed. You don't flinch. You don't explain. You don't need to be seen, because you know who you are. That is what makes the crowd uncomfortable. They cannot read the man who does not broadcast himself. When you are still, others feel exposed. Let your silence say what noise cannot. Let your calmness unsettle their chaos. The Stoic presence is a storm in disguise. You are not meant to be numb. You are meant to be unchained. You were not made to avoid pain. You were made to walk through it and remain intact. You were not designed to be perfect. You were meant to be disciplined. You were not built for applause. You were built for inner alignment. The world will keep trying to shake you through rejection, misfortune, loss. But it can only touch what you refuse to train. And so, we train. Not to be emotionless, but to be anchored. Not to escape storms, but to walk through them. When the mind is steady and the heart is still, nothing outside can disturb the truth within. Final words. The way forward. You do not need saving. You need remembering. You were built to endure, to rebuild, to rise. This is not just ancient wisdom. This is living Stoic philosophy, where the goal is not to chase peace, but to build it. Not through comfort, but through clarity. Not through noise, but through silence. Not through control of the world, but mastery of the self. So walk forward, not louder, but deeper. Not faster, but stronger. And if you felt something stir while reading this, then you already know. You were never broken. You were only waiting to begin again, with discipline, with fire, with silence. This is Stoic philosophy for life, where we don't escape storms, we become them. Subscribe only if you're ready to remember who you are and to become who you were meant to be.